Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life in Motion. We are interns at the University of Illinois, hoping to support early career professionals, especially caregivers, as they start their first jobs. We are so excited for you to be here with us today. And today we're going to be introducing our different interns and everyone who will be with us on this podcast journey. My name is Nora, and I'll be one of your hosts. And as we dive into conversations about balancing work, caregiving, and everything in between, we are just hoping that you all find it super helpful to hear from different stories and just really find this resource helpful in your journey if you are a caregiver or starting your first job. So a quick introduction of myself. I study community health with a concentration in health education and plan to attend dental school in August.
Hey guys, my name is Harun. I'm an eye health major, and my concentration is health behavior change. I'm a senior at U of I, and I chose this internship personally because I was a caregiver at one point. Just to give some background, I had a grandfather who suffered from dementia and Parkinson's, and he had a bunch of issues, taking care of himself. So I took that role early on, and it was a really transformative experience in my life, and I've learned a lot from it. So I kind of wanted to offer some of the insights I've learned through those few years, and I felt like this podcast was a really cool opportunity to share those experiences. As having been in that position once before, I feel like people could there might be something I can do or say that can help somebody else along the way. And just wanted to thank everybody for tuning into our first episode of Life in Motion. This is a podcast for like early career professionals who are juggling a lot of different things, including like career, school, caregiving, relationships, personal goals, anything that they could be going through and trying to manage. And we just want to give them any insights possible to make it easy for them.
Hello, I'm Amy, and I'm also a UIUC student. I'm majoring in community health with a concentration in healthcare administration and a minor in informatics. And my career goal in the future is to work somewhere in healthcare data analyst with analytics. And we know that life can feel like a constant balancing act, and that's why we're here today on this podcast. And together, we're going to explore ways to find balance, build community, and learn how to thrive in our roles, both professionally and personally. And I've also had experience being a caregiver to my grandmother in the past, so that's how I got involved in the internship with Denise at Caregiving Years Training Academy.
Hi everyone, I'm Noah. I'm currently a senior majoring in healthcare administration here at UIUC. In the future, I plan on trying to work in healthcare consulting, more on like the business side of healthcare. But just to give you a little bit of background, my grandma was taken care of by a caregiver, so I have that experience, which is why I wanted to intern for Denise Brown's caregiving academy. But overall, we've created this podcast because we've been there, feeling overwhelmed, burned out, and unsure of how to manage all the tasks that life brings to us. So we've also found some strategies and tools that could uh, help us manage those tasks, and we're happy to share them with you today.
And hi guys, I'm Kristen. I'm also a senior majoring in community health at U of I with a concentration in healthcare administration. I also have a minor in business. I'm not fully sure what I want to do career-wise when I graduate, but that's a later issue. For me, I think caregiving is just such an important aspect to the health of both individuals and populations. And for me personally, my mom is battling cancer right now, so this internship was something that really hit close to home, and so far has been really helpful for reflecting on my own journey. And over the course of the semester, we're going to hear from experts, share personal stories, and answer all of your questions. Our mission is to just support you guys as we all navigate this stage of life.
Kristen, thank you for sharing. I was just wondering what insight you could give us on how you balance different tasks in your life or challenging times in your life. Thank you for sharing your personal story. And yeah, I was just wondering just how you like handle balancing everything.
Yeah, of course. So for me personally, I use an Excel spreadsheet, and it has my schedule for my classes, all the assignments that I have due, any meetings that I have, and it's what I use to manage my life. And it also helps me just find free time to work on myself and spend time with friends too, which is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And then we should also just mention that we have another intern that could not be with us on this podcast today. Her name is Amaya, but we are all interns at the Caregiving Years Training Academy, which is a program that provides educational resources and additional support to individuals who are family caregivers, hoping to empower family caregivers through their journey in caregiving. And through our work as interns, we have seen firsthand how crucial a strong support system is, and just the importance of balancing different things in your life. And wanted to really create this internship or the podcast to then help people on their path to new like jobs. So Noah, I was actually wondering, just like a little bit more, if you could talk a little bit more about your connection to this internship and like what inspired you to really be on this team to then create the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Like I gave some background information. My grandma was taken care of by a caregiver because she lived a little far from her kids, my mom as well as my uncles. She lived in downtown, so it was really hard for someone to always be there for her. So the caregiver was able to, ultimately help her with daily activities. And when she passed away, she made that transition really easy. And it helped us a lot for my parents as well as my uncles and my aunts. And that was just a reason why I wanted to intern with Denise Brown because I know that caregivers go through a lot and just supporting them with whatever struggles they may face, it seems like a great opportunity to learn as well. And the reason why I was interested in this podcast was I'm going to be going into the professional world soon, and I would love to hear any insights or advice that experienced professionals could give so that I could take that into the future and apply that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'm really excited for this podcast as I feel like we all have personal experiences with caregiving, and also just are really excited to gain more insight on just aspects and just advice for becoming like an early career professional. So, like you said, I also have a similar story where my family was actually caregiving for my grandmother. She owned a business of her own and worked like on her own for like the last like 20-30 years of her life. So then we started noticing signs of like dementia through her work and then decided to take her into our home to take care of her. And it was a really challenging time. And it was probably over the span of like 3 years that my family was caregiving for her. So I know specifically like my mom's life was really put on hold, and ours as well. But towards the end of her life, it was actually, she passed away when I was a freshman in college. So my first semester at U of I was like definitely challenging balancing going home like frequently to help my family caregive. So yeah, that's just like a little bit about my experience. And then I also noticed through my experience that it was hard to balance the whole caregiving aspect with like going to school as well. So I'm just interested to see what other people have to say about their experiences like caregiving while also like having a new job in their life or just different advice about how to manage things. I feel like we're all very busy at school as it is. So I feel like any advice about different things that people can do to overcome stress or just manage things better, I'm always looking to hear more advice from other people. So yeah.
I found that quite interesting, the previous two stories from Noah and Nora, because, again, my experience is quite similar as well. I kind of touched on it earlier, but didn't go into much depth. But basically, I had a grandfather with Parkinson's, and so at first he ran a clinic for a very long time, a couple decades, and then slowly over time we started to notice little things like trembles in his hand and like falls and things of that nature, things that weren't very normal for him, right? And we slowly started to realize that the cause might be due to Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. So we started having him come over more to our house, and he stayed with us for quite a while. He stayed with us for a few years, and we would switch between my family and my uncle's family. But generally, most summers he'd be with us, and we'd be taking care of him throughout the summer. And me personally, I really did enjoy the process of doing it because it felt very nice because I cared for him a lot. And he's like one of my favorite people like ever. So I loved doing it, but it was quite challenging, especially during the summer because I was around between the years of like when I was 14 to 18, 19. He also passed away my freshman year of college, and throughout those all those summers, there was like the burden became progressively more difficult to handle because the disease just progressed over time. At first, it was quite simple. All you have to do is, make sure he gets up and down the stairs just fine. And he's going to do it on his own. You just want to be there to make sure it's okay. Then slowly you have to help him a little bit, then help him a little more. Then you have to set up a room downstairs for him. Things of that nature. It progressed over time. But, I really appreciated that experience. And it's it's something that was quite difficult, but I'm very thankful that I was given the opportunity to take care of him because I really appreciate him and everything he did for me too. But I feel like this is why all of us as interns are super passionate about this podcast. For me, when I was taking care of him, I was also balancing a job, especially in the summer. I always had a job, whether it was at a clinic or anywhere else. I always had to make sure the balance was there. And doing that was very difficult, especially when I was a younger teen, because it's you're kind of just thrown into a world where all of a sudden you have a job, all of a sudden you have to care about somebody. When at first all you used to do for summer is just hang out for the entire day. So I feel like I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody here at this in this podcast learned a lot as well. So we all want this opportunity to give insights for how to be an early career professional and learn from other professionals who are way further into their careers than us, and we can learn from them. And also, another thing that I wanted to do was provide a safe space for people to talk about these challenges that we face. Because one of the hardest things about going through a challenge is when you're feeling alone throughout the process. And we want to ensure that there's a spot for everybody to learn from others and anything that'll bring ease through their difficult times, because it can get quite difficult. But with the right help and the right steps, it's always manageable. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. And it is really interesting to see how a lot of our stories align. Like hearing your story about your grandfather, it is pretty similar to the story of my grandmother as well. And it's just such a challenging process, especially just really trying to balance like your own life with it. So I respect that, your, family was caregiving for your grandfather while also you had to manage like your summer job and just like life in general. I feel like it's really easy for people who are caregiving to fall into a cycle where they're not like caring for themselves or putting themselves first, and maybe that could affect your daily life at a job or just in general. Even if people are not caregiving and there's something else that's stressing them out outside of their job, it can really affect like their success level and effort that they put into their job. And I just think, yeah, it's something that is very, very challenging to really overcome. So yeah, I appreciate just hearing everyone's stories, and just I'm excited to hear other people's stories too, like the different guests we host on this podcast.
Now that you guys have shared your stories about, the things that you've gone through, what were some ways that you guys managed that? I know I was talking about my like Excel spreadsheet. Do you guys have like calendars or something that you use?
Yeah, personally, I use Google Calendar and Tasks a lot. Personally, it's just the easiest and it's free and it's pretty convenient. I just always found that a lot of little tasks could build up really fast, and sometimes if you don't keep track of them, you can just neglect them, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks have passed, and like the assignment that would have taken you 10 minutes is a week overdue. But you were trying to manage a bunch of other things, and it wasn't your fault necessarily. It's easy to get caught up in things. So having tasks and like having it listed and going through it one by one is very nice. Like I listed on importance and how easy it will be to get through it. Also, Google Calendar is really nice because, if you have a lot of meetings, if you have to take your somebody you're caregiving to an appointment, or if you have, and then you also have work, sometimes planning that in advance is really important to make sure everything can get done. Otherwise, you're just going to be behind. So Google Calendar is my favorite way of doing that, and it always helped me stay on top of things.
I can agree with you on Google Calendar. It's definitely one of my favorite features and personal calendar that I love to use. I also feel like it's important to not only touch on like the organizational aspects of life, but also it is important, like I've mentioned before, to keep like to take care of yourself as well. So I like to have this like thing where I just do like one good thing for myself a day, whether it be like changing out different jewelry or getting myself like a coffee at some cafe. I feel like the little things like that really go a long way. Just like how like the little aspects of organization can go a long way in your success level with whatever you're trying to do. So yeah, I just feel like that balance is really important. I tend to like over stress about a lot of things. So I think like how I've implemented just trying to be more positive throughout the day. And just like trying to do something little for myself each day. And even just trying to like make plans with people around me like ahead of time just because my schedule is so busy. That's where like the Google Calendar feature comes in handy. So I feel like that's helped not only balance my like academic life, but my social life as well.
Something that I used to use Google Calendar, and I also used to use Excel spreadsheets at different times. But I found what works best for me is that I'm very visual and I like to have everything in one place versus having a bunch of different tabs open or like using a bunch of different apps. So on my iPad, I use this app called Free Notes, and it's a free app that basically you can have templates and you can download them. And depending on like what you want or how you want to organize your stuff, there's different templates for the months of the year or bi-weekly, or just basically it gives you the free time to like have any kind of organization you want. And I just use that every day to like put in like plans I have each day when everything's due. And I think that works really good for me. And I like to be able to organize things on my own hand too.
Yeah, I would also like to add that changing my environment really helped me become more able to like focus on different tasks. When you're in your room or in your house, it gets pretty boring. So just getting outside and finding a new environment really helps with getting stuff done. So.
I definitely agree with that because going to the library versus having a space that's not very study friendly, like being at home, I feel like it's harder to do work at versus being in a public space where you're like peer pressured basically to do more work. And I also find going to the library, especially here at UIUC, more helpful to get things done.
That is very true. So we just want to give a brief overview of this season. Basically, we're going to be focusing on themes of getting started and finding balance. And each episode will tackle a specific topic, from time management to self-care to building a really strong support system for everyone.
Yeah, we're also very excited to bring on a variety of different guests specializing in mental health, financial planning, as well as career development. So you get a broad variety of different advice and insights different professionals could offer you. And we'd also be happy to share our own stories and strategies along the way as well.
Yeah, and one thing we're really excited about this semester is hearing from all of you guys. This podcast isn't just about sharing our own experiences. It's about building a community where all of us can learn and grow together and feel, I guess, supported. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just really want our listeners to think about what's your biggest challenge you face when it comes to balancing work and caregiving, or two difficult situations, whether it be like some other stressor in your life or really challenging time in your life, while also your career. We understand that balance can be very difficult, so we're really looking forward to hearing from everyone's experiences.
Yeah, you can share your answers by emailing us at caregivingyearsacademy@gmail.com. I'm sure we'll provide a link somewhere as well. Yeah.
Before we wrap up today, here's a sneak peek at what you can expect this season. We'll be talking about
Setting boundaries at work and home.
Finding financial stability as a caregiver.
The importance of mental health and self-care.
How to ask for help and build a support network.
and strategies for long-term planning when you're juggling so much in the present.
Like we said, we're so excited for you guys to take the journey with us. Don't forget to subscribe to Life in Motion podcast so you don't miss any episodes. And if you like today's episode, feel free to give us a review as well as give us some feedback of what you guys want to see on the podcast.
Thanks for tuning in today. We're excited to announce that our first guest episode will be released this Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time. And this episode, Nora and I will be joined by a special guest, Cynthia Iorio, for an insightful conversation. And she'll be sharing her expertise and experiences while also offering valuable insights for early career professionals and caregivers alike. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.